When you truly understand that you are created by God, crafted with intention, and placed in this world with a divine purpose, something changes deep within you. It's not just about believing you're special because someone told you so, or because you achieved something that made you feel proud. It's about knowing, deep in your heart, that your value was decided long before you took your first breath. That value is not based on what you look like, what you own, or what others think of you. It is rooted in the fact that you are the handiwork of the Creator. When you see yourself that way, you stop negotiating your worth with people who can't afford to buy into it in the first place. Too many relationships fall apart because one or both people don't see their own value. When you don't know your worth, you'll tolerate words, actions, and treatment that chip away at your spirit. You'll settle for less than you deserve because deep down you've convinced yourself that's all you're going to get. But when you recognize you are created with intention, you begin to carry yourself differently. You stand taller, you speak with confidence, and you stop trying to earn love through constant proving or pleasing. You understand that love is not something you have to beg for. It's something that flows naturally to those who honor themselves. Seeing yourself as a creation of God also helps you filter out relationships that are not aligned with your purpose. You no longer cling to someone out of fear of being alone because you know your value doesn't decrease in solitude. In fact, solitude becomes sacred space, time for you to grow, heal, and prepare for the kind of love that will respect what you carry. You learn that the wrong relationship can drain your purpose, while the right one will help it flourish. And because you value yourself, you will wait for the relationship that nourishes your soul rather than one that merely fills your calendar. When you walk into a relationship with this understanding, you're not entering it from a place of desperation or lack. You're entering it from a place of abundance. You know that you are already whole, already loved by God, already complete in your identity. This changes everything because now your presence in someone's life is not about completing them or fixing them. It's about sharing the overflow of who you already are. And when a man sees a woman who knows her worth, who honors herself and lives according to her values, he will either rise to meet that standard or step aside. There's no middle ground. Value is something you teach people through your actions, not your words. You teach it by what you accept and what you reject, by the way you carry yourself and the boundaries you set. People will always test your limits, but it's your job to hold the line with grace and strength. This isn't about arrogance or pride, it's about honoring the gift of life you've been given. When you treat yourself like a precious creation, others take notice, and the ones who are meant to be in your life will treat you accordingly. Understanding your worth also helps you love more freely, because you're no longer afraid of loss. You're not clinging to someone for validation, so you can give love without the fear that you'll lose yourself in the process. You can communicate openly, forgive when necessary, and stand firm when something violates your boundaries. Your worth gives you the courage to walk away when love is no longer healthy, and the wisdom to stay when it is. There's something magnetic about a person who knows they are valuable. They draw respect without demanding it. They inspire loyalty without forcing it. They invite love without chasing it. This kind of presence doesn't happen overnight. It's built over time, through prayer, reflection, and a willingness to see yourself the way God sees you. And when you carry that truth into every interaction, you create a natural filter where only those who honor your worth remain close. Recognizing your worth is not just the foundation for building a healthy relationship. It's the safeguard that keeps it strong. Because the truth is, if you don't know who you are, someone else will try to define it for you. And when you let the wrong person define your worth, you give them the power to dictate your joy, your peace, and even your future. But when your identity is anchored in the unshakable truth that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, no one can take that away. So the first step in unlocking a God-centered relationship is to look in the mirror and truly see what God has placed in you, and decide that you will never again lower your value just to fit into someone else's life. Self-respect Respect is one of the clearest signals you can send to the world about how you expect to be treated. It's not just a nice concept or a motivational phrase. It's the quiet, unshakable truth you carry in how you live, speak, and respond. People take their cues from you. If you show them through your words and actions that you value yourself, they will either rise to meet that standard or remove themselves because they can't meet it. But if you constantly compromise on your own values, allow disrespect to slide, or put everyone else's needs before your own to the point of losing yourself, you teach them that it's acceptable to treat you in ways you don't deserve. Self-respect starts with the decisions you make every day. It's in the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. It's in the choices you make about the people you allow close to you. It's in the boundaries you set, not because you want to push people away, but because you understand that love without respect isn't love at all. When you respect yourself, you stop entertaining situations that compromise your peace, your values, or your dignity. You recognize that it's better to walk alone than to walk with someone who constantly pulls you down. People often confuse self-respect with pride or arrogance, but they are not the same. Pride is about elevating yourself above others. Self-respect is about protecting what is sacred within you. It's about understanding that you are responsible for how you allow others to treat you. You can't control their behavior, but you can absolutely control your response to it. And sometimes the most powerful response is silence, distance, or simply walking away. That's not weakness, that's strength, because it shows that you will not let someone else's behavior dictate your worth. The way you carry yourself also communicates your level of self-respect. If you speak with confidence, if you keep your promises to yourself, if you refuse to chase validation from people who can't even see your value, you create a presence that commands honor without saying a word. People notice when you have standards, and they notice when you don't. If you allow constant lateness, unkind words, or emotional neglect to slide, those behaviors will continue. But when you draw a line and hold it, calmly, consistently, you send a clear message that respect is not optional in your life. Self-respect also determines the kind of relationships you build. When you honor yourself, you naturally attract those who honor you. You won't find yourself begging for affection or competing for someone's attention because you understand that real love is freely given, not earned through constant sacrifice of your own needs. And when someone does come into your life, they quickly realize that your respect for yourself is a non-negotiable. They learn that to stay in your life, they must treat you with the same level of dignity and care you give yourself. This doesn't mean you won't face challenges or moments of disrespect. Life will always test you, and so will people. But self-respect gives you the strength to handle those moments without losing yourself. It gives you the wisdom to know when to speak up, when to forgive, and when to walk away. It helps you navigate conflict without allowing bitterness to take root, because you know that your peace is too valuable to give away to anyone. The truth is, people often mirror the way you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself down, neglect your needs, or tolerate toxic behavior, you're signaling that such treatment is acceptable. But when you speak life over yourself, protect your heart, and stand firm in your boundaries, you send a completely different message. You show that you are someone who knows their value, someone who will not settle for anything less than respect. Living with self-respect doesn't mean you expect perfection from others. It means you require sincerity, effort, and kindness. It means that you are willing to extend grace when mistakes happen, but you're also willing to protect yourself when patterns emerge that threaten your well-being. It means you give love freely, but you never give away your dignity in the process. And here's the beauty of it. When you live with self-respect, you inspire others to do the same. The people in your life will either learn from your example or drift away because they can't handle the standard you've set. Either way, you're left surrounded by those who value you for who you are, not just for what you can give them. So if you want to change how others treat you, start by changing how you treat yourself, because every relationship you have begins with the one you have with you. True love is not just a feeling that comes and goes with emotions. It's something deeper, something rooted in the way two people see and value each other. When a relationship is built on mutual honor, it means both people are committed to treating each other with respect, not only in the big moments, but in the small, everyday interactions. It means speaking to one another with kindness, protecting each other's dignity, and refusing to tear one another down, even when disagreements happen. Honor is about seeing the best in the other person, believing in their worth, and making the choice to uplift rather than criticize. Without that foundation, love can easily become conditional, fragile, or even manipulative. But when honor is present, it creates a safe space where love can truly grow. Shared faith takes that foundation and strengthens it even more. When two people believe in the same spiritual truth, when they look to God for guidance, strength, and direction, they are not just building their relationship on personal preferences or temporary emotions. They're anchoring it in something eternal. Faith gives you a shared vision, a set of values, and a moral compass that helps you navigate the storms of life together. It reminds you that your love is not just about making each other happy, but about helping each other grow into the people you were created to be. In an atmosphere where honor and faith are both present, trust flourishes. You're not worried about betrayal or disrespect because you both have a mutual commitment to integrity. You can speak honestly without fear of being mocked or dismissed. You can share your dreams and struggles knowing that they'll be handled with care, not used against you later. That kind of safety is what allows love to deepen, because love needs space to be vulnerable, and vulnerability can only exist where there is trust. Mutual honor also means you don't see each other as projects to be fixed. You accept each other for who you are, while still encouraging each other to grow. You don't keep score or hold grudges, because you understand that love is about giving freely, not keeping a running tally of who's done what. And when mistakes happen, as they always will, you handle them with grace, because honor sees the person beyond the problem. Shared faith brings a level of unity that goes beyond human strength. There will be seasons where feelings fade, where life gets heavy, and where personal weaknesses show up. In those moments, faith keeps you committed. It reminds you that love is not just an emotion to be enjoyed, but a covenant to be honored. It calls you to forgive, to extend grace, and to keep choosing each other even when it's hard. It helps you see the bigger picture, that your relationship is part of something greater than just the two of you. When you combine honor and faith, you create an environment where love is nurtured, not drained. You find joy in each other's success instead of competing for attention. You serve one another without resentment. You pray for each other's needs, dreams, and struggles, knowing that your spiritual connection strengthens every other part of your relationship. You stop asking, "What can I get out of this?" and start asking, "How can I give more of myself to make this relationship thrive?" And here's the beautiful truth. Love that grows in honor and faith doesn't just stay between two people. It overflows into your family, your friendships, and even strangers who see the way you care for one another. It becomes a testimony of what's possible when two people commit to love with purpose. It shows that love isn't just about passion or chemistry. It's about building something solid that will last through the highs and lows, the easy days and the hard ones. If you want love that lasts, you can't build it on fleeting attraction or shallow connection. You have to build it on respect that runs deep and faith that holds steady. Because when love is wrapped in honor and rooted in shared faith, it doesn't just survive, it thrives. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are gates that allow the right people in and keep the wrong influences from taking root in your life. They are not about being cold or distant, but about being clear and intentional with your heart. Without boundaries, you open yourself up to confusion, disappointment, and even mistreatment, because people will always push as far as you allow them to. But when you have clear, healthy boundaries, you create a space where love can grow in safety and where respect becomes the foundation of any relationship. Protecting your heart doesn't mean you shut down emotionally or become guarded in a way that no one can reach you. It means you take the time to understand your own needs, values, and limits, and you communicate them with clarity. When you know what you stand for, you are less likely to compromise just to please someone else. And when you are consistent in living by those boundaries, you send a message. This is how I value myself, and this is how I expect to be treated. The people who truly care for you will honor that. Those who are only interested in taking advantage of you will be revealed very quickly. Boundaries are not only about protecting yourself from harm, they're also about inviting the right kind of love in. When you are clear about what you will and will not accept, you create an environment where genuine commitment can take root. A healthy partner will see your boundaries not as restrictions, but as guidance for how to love you well. They will recognize that those boundaries are a reflection of your self-respect, not an obstacle to closeness. In fact, boundaries often strengthen intimacy because they encourage honest communication and mutual understanding. The absence of boundaries can lead to cycles of hurt and disappointment. Without them, it's easy to lose yourself in someone else's needs, to accept behavior that goes against your values, or to hold on to relationships that are not serving your well-being. But with boundaries in place, you can give love freely without fear of being drained or diminished. You can invest in a relationship without losing your identity in the process. You remain grounded, knowing that your worth does not depend on anyone else's approval or affection. Boundaries also teach others how to handle your emotions, time, and energy. If you answer every call, agree to every demand, or allow every mood swing to dictate your peace, you unintentionally show people that your life is open for them to control. But when you set limits, when you say no to what doesn't align with your values, you show that you respect yourself too much to live at the mercy of other people's choices. This not only earns respect from others, but it also builds your own sense of confidence and stability. Sometimes people fear setting boundaries because they don't want to lose relationships. But the truth is, boundaries don't end healthy connections. They strengthen them. They remove confusion about where you stand and make space for trust to grow. If someone walks away because you have boundaries, it means they were never going to offer the kind of commitment you deserve. That's not a loss, it's clarity. And that clarity frees you to make room for someone who will value you fully. Genuine commitment is not about someone staying with you out of convenience or obligation. It's about them choosing you, respecting you, and investing in the relationship consistently. Boundaries help make that possible because they set the tone for how love will operate between you. They establish a shared understanding that love will not cross into disrespect, neglect, or manipulation. They create a framework where both people can give and receive without fear of being taken advantage of. The truth is, the right person will never be intimidated by your boundaries. They will appreciate them. They will see them as evidence that you value yourself and that you're serious about protecting the relationship from anything that could damage it. And when both people bring their boundaries into the relationship, it becomes a partnership built on mutual respect, trust, and intentional love. When you protect your heart with clear boundaries, you make room for the kind of love that is consistent, safe, and enduring, the kind that is worth keeping. Confidence in your identity begins with knowing who you are at your core, before the opinions, labels, and expectations of others try to define you. It's about having a deep understanding of your value and living from that truth every single day. When you walk in this kind of confidence, you stop seeking validation from people who can't see your worth, because you already know it for yourself. That inner assurance changes the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and the way you allow others to treat you. The truth is, people can sense whether you are secure in who you are or not. When you're confident in your identity, you send an unspoken message. I know my value, and I will not settle for less than I deserve. That message naturally draws in relationships rooted in respect, because those who approach you understand that convenience and half-hearted effort won't be enough. They realize they will need to show up with sincerity, consistency, and intentionality. On the other hand, when someone lacks confidence in their identity, they often attract relationships that are one-sided or shallow. They might settle for attention instead of love, or accept inconsistent effort because they fear being alone. Without a clear sense of self, it's easy to compromise on your standards just to keep someone around. But when you are rooted in who you are, you refuse to entertain relationships that drain you or diminish you. You are not afraid to walk away from what doesn't honor you, because you know that your worth isn't determined by who chooses to stay, it's determined by the truth you already carry within. Confidence in your identity also shifts the way you give love. Instead of pouring yourself out in desperation to prove your worth, you give from a place of abundance. You are not trying to earn someone's approval. You are sharing the best of yourself with someone who is worthy of it. That creates balance because love becomes a choice, not a transaction. You are able to receive love without suspicion and give love without losing yourself in the process. When you are secure in who you are, you stop chasing relationships that are built on convenience, those connections that only exist when it benefits the other person. You start recognizing the difference between someone who truly values you and someone who only keeps you around because you make their life easier. That awareness is powerful because it allows you to invest your time and heart into relationships that are genuine, not just comfortable for the other person. This kind of confidence also changes the way you handle rejection or disappointment. Instead of letting it crush your sense of self, you see it as redirection towards something better. You no longer internalize someone's inability to value you as proof that you are unworthy. You understand that not every person is meant to walk with you, and that's not a reflection of your value. It's simply a reflection of alignment. People who are confident in their identity tend to attract others who are also secure and respectful. They become magnets for those who appreciate strength, authenticity, and clarity. And because they're not trying to hide or be someone they're not, they create an atmosphere where honesty can thrive. This eliminates a lot of the games, manipulation, and guessing that can poison a relationship. Confidence is not loud or boastful. It's steady, quiet, and consistent. It's in the way you uphold your standards, even when it's inconvenient. It's in the way you treat yourself with kindness and refuse to allow others to diminish your light. It's in the way you keep growing, learning, and becoming the person you were meant to be, regardless of who notices. That kind of self-assurance is deeply attractive, not because it tries to impress, but because it inspires trust and admiration. When you are confident in your identity, you create a natural filter in your relationships. Those who only want convenience will drift away, while those who value you for who you are will draw closer. And in the end, that means you'll be surrounded by people who are there out of genuine love and respect, not because it's easy, but because it's real. A God-centered partnership isn't just about two people sharing feelings. It's about two people sharing a foundation that is unshakable. When both individuals walk in purpose and integrity, the relationship becomes more than just companionship. It becomes a mission, a calling, and a shared journey towards something greater. Purpose gives the relationship direction, while integrity keeps it grounded in truth. Without purpose, relationships can drift aimlessly, driven only by emotions that change with circumstances. Without integrity, even the strongest connection can be poisoned by dishonesty, selfishness, or compromise. But when both are present, love has the stability it needs to grow deep and strong. Walking in purpose means each person knows who they are, why they are here, and what they are working toward. It means you don't look to your partner to define your identity or give your life meaning. You come into the relationship already carrying your God-given calling. This creates a powerful dynamic because you're not clinging to each other out of need, but choosing each other out of alignment. You both understand that your lives are about more than personal happiness. They're about fulfilling a higher plan together. Integrity is the commitment to live in truth, even when it's hard. In a relationship, this means honesty in your words, consistency in your actions, and faithfulness in your commitments. Integrity builds trust, and trust is the glue that holds any partnership together. When both individuals are people of integrity, they can face challenges without fearing betrayal. They can be vulnerable without worrying about manipulation. They can disagree without it becoming destructive, because they know the other person's character will not change with the wind. When purpose and integrity meet in a God-centered relationship, there's a sense of peace that can't be manufactured. You don't have to constantly wonder about the other person's intentions, because you both have the same guiding compass. You're working toward the same goals, driven by the same faith, and committed to the same principles. This unity doesn't mean you'll never face conflict. It means you'll handle it with grace, humility, and a willingness to find solutions that honor both God and each other. Purpose in a partnership also means you push each other toward growth. You're not just coexisting, you're inspiring one another to become better. You hold each other accountable when one starts drifting away from what matters most. You celebrate each other's victories and help carry each other through struggles, knowing that every season, good or bad, is part of the bigger picture God is writing for your lives. Integrity ensures that in the pursuit of that purpose, you never lose your way. It keeps you from cutting corners, compromising your values, or justifying harmful behavior in the name of love. It means that even when no one is watching, you act in ways that protect the relationship, your faith, and your personal character. This level of trustworthiness builds a love that is safe, steady, and enduring. A partnership like this becomes a testimony to others. People will see the way you handle challenges, the way you speak to one another, the way you make decisions, and they will notice the difference. It's not because you're perfect, it's because you're intentional. You've built something on a solid foundation that doesn't crumble under pressure. Relationships built on fleeting attraction or convenience will eventually fade, but a relationship built on shared purpose and integrity will endure. It will weather storms, overcome trials, and grow stronger with time. It will bring out the best in both people, not by accident, but by choice, because both individuals are committed to living out their faith and values, both individually and together. When you have two people who walk in purpose and integrity, you don't just have love. You have a partnership that is alive, meaningful, and lasting. So remember, knowing your worth, respecting yourself, honoring each other, setting boundaries, walking in confidence, and living with purpose and integrity are not just ideas. They are the keys to love that lasts. When you embrace these truths, you don't just find a relationship. You build one that reflects God's design. And in that kind of love, you are valued, cherished, and never taken for granted.